Settle in. I've got 4 stories for you tonight, all pulled directly from Reddit. True accounts from people who just needed somewhere to share.
I'm sitting in our living room, watching my husband and daughter go back and forth about her future, and I'm getting increasingly furious. My husband is being so rigid, so unsupportive, it's like he's suffocating her dreams. Our daughter, who has always been passionate about writing and reading, wants to pursue a Master of Fine Arts degree, and all she's getting from her father is resistance, criticism. It's like he's trying to extinguish the fire that's burning inside of her. And do you know what he said next? Dreams don't pay the bills. Like that's the only thing that matters in life. I'm listening to this conversation, and I'm feeling devastated. Like my heart is breaking for my daughter, who's being told that her passion, her creativity, isn't worth pursuing. I look at my husband, and I see a man who's been driven by money his whole life, who's never taken a risk, never followed his heart. And I wonder, is this really the kind of father I want for my daughter? I take a deep breath, and I try to reason with him. I explain that we have the means to support our daughter, to give her the freedom to chase her dreams without the burden of financial stress. But he's not listening. He's too caught up in his own ideology, his own narrow-minded view of what success looks like. And I'm shocked, truly shocked, that he's not willing to budge, that he's not willing to consider the impact his words are having on our daughter. I think about all the times I've seen my daughter light up when she's talking about writing, about the stories she wants to tell, the characters she wants to create. And I know that this is what she's meant to do. This is her passion, her calling. And I'm not going to let my husband's negativity, his skepticism, hold her back. I'm going to fight for her. I'm going to support her every step of the way. As I look at my husband, I realize that we want different things for our daughter. He wants her to be practical, to be secure, to be stable. But I want her to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be true to herself. And I know that I'm not alone in this feeling, that there are countless parents out there who are struggling with the same dilemma: how to balance our desire for our children to be successful with our desire for them to be happy. I think about my own life, about the choices I've made, about the sacrifices I've taken, and I realize that I've been living my life according to other people's expectations, according to societal norms. But my daughter, she's different, she's brave, she's fearless. And I want to be brave for her, I want to be fearless for her. I want to give her the courage to pursue her dreams, to follow her heart. And I know that I can do that. I know that I can be the support system she needs. As the conversation comes to a close, I look at my daughter, and I see the tears in her eyes, the disappointment, the frustration. But I also see the determination, the resilience. And I know that she's going to be okay, that she's going to pursue her dreams, no matter what, and I'm going to be right there behind her, cheering her on, every step of the way. And in that moment, I feel a sense of peace, a sense of resolution, knowing that I've made the right decision, that I've chosen to support my daughter's dreams, no matter the cost.
Moving on to story number 2. And hey, if you're enjoying the compilation so far, a like goes a long way. It helps other people find these stories too. All right.
I was standing in the checkout line at Walmart, watching as the couple in front of me struggled to reconcile their receipt, and that's when I saw it, a moment of pure, unadulterated love. The old man, maybe in his 70s, was frantically searching for something on the receipt, his face etched with worry, and his wife, equally elderly, was patiently standing by his side, a picture of calm. He looked up at her, apologetic, and said something about getting the wrong tea, and I thought to myself, okay, here we go, she's going to be furious with him. But instead, she put her hand on his arm, and looked at him with a gaze so full of love and sincerity, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And do you know what she said next? She told him that she didn't care about the tea, that as long as they were together, drinking it at their table, she was happy. And in that moment, something shifted inside of me. I felt a sense of clarity wash over me, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I realized that I had been sold a lie, that love had to be some grand, romantic gesture, some big, fancy gift or elaborate display of affection. But this couple, they were showing me that love was so much more than that. It was about the little things, the everyday moments, the patience and understanding that comes with years of being together. As I stood there, watching them, I felt a pang of devastated realization. I thought about all the times I'd been guilty of expecting too much, of wanting some kind of fairy tale romance, when in reality, it was the simple, quiet moments that truly mattered. And I felt a sense of shock, like I'd been living in a bubble, oblivious to the true nature of love. But as I watched this couple, I saw the beauty in their love. It was a love that had been tempered by time, a love that had grown and evolved over the years. It was a love that was rooted in reality, not some idealized fantasy. And it was a love that I desperately wanted for myself. As I finished checking out and left the store, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just witnessed something truly special. I felt reflective, like I'd been given a rare gift, a glimpse into the true meaning of love. And I knew that I would carry this moment with me, that it would stay with me for a long time, a reminder of what love really looks like. I thought about all the times I'd been disappointed by love, all the times I'd felt like it had let me down. But this couple, they were showing me that love wasn't about grand gestures or romantic getaways. It was about the little things, the everyday moments, the choice to love and accept each other, no matter what. And that was a truly beautiful thing. As I walked away from the store, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. I knew that I still had a lot to learn, that I still had a long way to go. But I also knew that I'd been given a rare gift, a glimpse into the true meaning of love. And for that, I was truly grateful.
Moving on. But first, comment below, what would you have done in that situation? I read every single one. All right. Story number 3.
I'm still trying to process the events of that fateful evening. It's a miracle I'm even here to tell the tale. One minute I was settling in for a quiet night with my cats, and the next, I was tumbling through the air, my body crashing down onto the metal bed frame with a sickening thud. The pain was instant, a searing, white-hot agony that left me breathless and reeling. I mean, can you even imagine, falling crotch first onto a hard, unforgiving surface? It's a feeling I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. As I struggled to my feet, I was met with a sight that made my blood run cold, literally. There was blood everywhere, on the floor, on the wall, soaking through my trousers. I was covered in it, up to my elbows, and I just knew, that this was not something minor. The thought sent a wave of pandemonium through my mind. What had I done to myself? And do you know what she said next? No, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just say that the hospital was the only option at this point. The walk to the hospital was a blur, my mind racing with thoughts of what could happen, what might happen, would I ever be the same again? The emergency room was a whirlwind of activity, with nurses and doctors rushing to attend to me, all of them wearing that familiar mixture of concern and curiosity. I was asked repeatedly how I'd gotten the injury, and I could sense the skepticism in their voices. They clearly thought I was hiding something, that this was no accident. It was infuriating, to say the least. The hours that followed were a haze of pain and discomfort, with medical students trooping in to gawk at my injuries like I was some kind of freak show. I was devastated, feeling like my body had been turned into a twisted spectacle. And the questions, oh God, the questions, they just kept coming, each one a fresh reminder of my vulnerability. But I knew I had to stay strong, for my own sake, if nothing else. The stitches were a blur of pain and discomfort, the needles piercing my skin like hot knives. I lost count after 8, to be honest, it was all just too much to bear. The thought of those needles, poking and prodding at my most sensitive areas, still makes me shudder. But it was over, eventually, and I was left to pick up the pieces, to try and make sense of the chaos that had engulfed my life. As I lay there, surrounded by the sterile hospital equipment, I couldn't help but wonder, what if? What if I'd fallen just a little differently? What if I'd been more careful? The what-ifs swirled through my mind like a maelstrom, threatening to pull me under. But I knew I had to focus on the present, on the long road to recovery that lay ahead. It wouldn't be easy, I knew that much, but I was determined to heal, to move forward, no matter what. And as I drifted off to sleep, surrounded by the quiet beeps of the hospital machines, I felt a sense of resolve wash over me. I would get through this, no matter what it took.
Before we continue, if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. These stories drop regularly and they only get better. Okay. Let's go.
I'm sitting here, staring at the same four walls I've been staring at for years, feeling like I'm drowning in a sea of despair, and I just can't take it anymore. I'm a 27-year-old man, working as a heavy line technician in the automotive field, and my life has become a never-ending cycle of exhaustion and frustration. I work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, and yet I'm barely scraping by, trying to make ends meet, but for what? So I can come home to a house that's more of a burden than a blessing? A house that my wife insisted we needed, but I never wanted? I'm furious with myself for not standing up for what I wanted, for not being more assertive in our relationship. But at the same time, I'm devastated by the fact that my wife has become a stranger to me, a person who doesn't contribute to our household, who doesn't even bother to clean or cook for me after a long day's work. I mean, what kind of partnership is this? I come home, dead tired, and I have to start cleaning and cooking for myself. It's like I'm single, but with the added burden of supporting someone who doesn't even appreciate my efforts. And do you know what she does all day? Nothing. She wakes up at 9, and then she just does whatever she wants, without any regard for me or our household. I'm not even sure what she does, to be honest. It's like she's living in a different world, a world where I don't exist. And I'm left here, feeling like I'm shouldering the entire weight of our relationship, feeling like I'm losing my mind, slowly but surely. I used to love her, I really did, but now I just feel trapped. I feel like I'm stuck in this endless cycle of work and drudgery, with no escape in sight. My body hurts, my mind is numb, and I'm just going through the motions. I'm not really living, I'm just existing. And the worst part is, I feel like I've lost myself in all of this. I've lost my sense of purpose, my sense of identity. I'm just a shell of the person I used to be, a person who was full of life and energy and passion. But as I sit here, reflecting on my life, I realize that I have a choice to make. I can continue down this path of misery and desperation, or I can try to make a change. I can try to find a way out of this cycle, to find a way back to myself. It won't be easy, I know that, but I also know that I owe it to myself to try. I owe it to myself to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be alive. And so, I'll take a deep breath, and I'll start making small changes, one step at a time, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find my way back to a life that's worth living.
And there you have it. 3 real stories, straight from Reddit. Good night.